Greetings, welcome. So in the last video we talked a bit about electric motors in general as we were waiting for parts to print, and this 20-hour print is finally finished. Ain't she pretty? I think so. What we got then is we got the slots here for the magnets. And so there's our magnets, and they're neodymium. They're only an 1/8 inch thick, but they are strong. I mean, I can't imagine like the 4 inch by 1 inch. It'd be literally dangerous. So those go in there. These are slots, oddly enough, for pennies if you want to add the equivalent of a flywheel mass. This is where a second part will go, where there'll be another layer or level to this, another set of magnets, and that's where you'll have your timing wheel and your pickup coil, because eventually we're going to wrap wire all the way around 360 degrees to run this. It's not what we're going to do first, though. The first thing is going to be just to see if we can get it spinning, and so we'll have something a little bit more akin to a conventional coil, although not exactly the same as I would have wound the coil like a year ago, but you can kind of see it'll look kind of conventional. But before we even get to that, so I mean the goal today is to get this thing spinning, and that'll be the video. It might happen today, it might happen tomorrow, or it might happen a month from now. The first thing is to put the magnets in, and I'll kind of show you what I'm up against here, which hopefully, you know, this isn't like, oh, I got to start from scratch. I don't think it will be, but, and you know, I don't think this is anything I did wrong. It's just that I've got the $220 3D printer, not the $820, and I haven't spent like 6 months trying to learn everything about printing. But we go in this slot. You know, let me move these magnets out of there. That would be another tragic ending. So, you know, there's that slot. Wonderful. Wonderful. That's it goes in, but it's not. There's one of them that I'm going to have to tap in. And the danger, I think that was the worst of them. The danger is that I tapped the end right off of the dang rotor. Hopefully not. Let's find out. Okay, so we got the first magnet in, and it didn't break the PLA, but that is in there. So that's not coming out. I've unzipped my fly now, and this either works or we have to tear it down in order to get the magnets out to continue on. Now they're magnetized through the width there. So this is either north, south, or south-north. And one of the things that's annoying me right now is I have a little $2, you know, it's got like a weak little magnet with painted red and black, and you can swivel, and so you put it in as a polarity indicator. And I used the thing once, and then it like disappears for a month, and then I purposely put it in I thought I put it in the meter bin. Now I need it, and I can't find it. So how absent-minded I am. Might like show up in the freezer in a month or something. So there, I mean, it's not a big deal. We can do it the old-fashioned way. Okay, that's repulsion, and that's attraction. Okay, we have our magnets in all around. This is the one that sticks. I'm actually not going to push that any further, because maybe you could put some pliers on there and pull the thing out if you needed to. So this is good, and let's just talk for a minute about how you might want to wind the coil, and we're going to do different ways of winding it, but there's sort of 3 that one could think of. And the first thing I'm going to do, I mean that I can think of, you know, just off the top of my head here. The first thing is just a conventional, you know, regular coil, but it'll be an air core. But even there, I'm going to wind it differently than I would have, say, a year ago. So a year ago, I might have a rectangular coil former like that. Just wind them around, wind them around. Now, the problem with that I see nowadays is that the interior of your coil will be right up close, and then because this is circular, the outside periphery of the circumference will be further away from here. And I didn't used to, the way I used to visualize this is running is that the coil is forming a north, and you have a south here and a north there, and it's attracted towards this and repulsed by that. And I think that probably plays into it. But the issue that you run into is if you wound this as a window motor, what you would do would be wire up here, over there, down there, underneath there, and then back here, and continue to wind that, and it runs just fine. The problem is, now you have a big coil like that. The north is being formed that way, and the south is being formed that way from the coil. So that has nothing to do with why the thing would be spinning. So why is it spinning? And it's spinning because of what Oersted first saw, what Ampere then documented and explored extensively, and what's now termed the Lorentz force, which is that when you have a current flowing like this, there's a force on the charged particles at a right angle. So that means if I have a straight coil like that, and some of the wires in close and the other wires out further away, that wire is not going to be working as efficiently as it should. So what you want, I think, would be a coil former that looks more like this. So now you take the wire up there, down there, up there, down there, and now they're all equally spaced at right angles from here, and you're making, I would say, better use of the wire. And then the last, the third way that I was mentioning is, and we'll eventually get there, is the serpentine coil. Go up there, go down there, you continue this around, up there, down there, and you never form a complete flux loop until you get all the way back down there, up there, and I have no idea what it'll do. I mean, I think it'll run. I just don't know, will it run super great or will it run like crap? So that one will wait. The first thing is just to get this spinning, which will be to wind something like this. And it's always kind of fun for me just when the thing actually spins. So first we just want to get this spinning. I was going to use this as the coil former. The problem that I'm running into when I think about it is you go there and then you start to go out here. You get out here and it's going to want to ride up over there. So I mean, you need a better coil former. So it's not quite finished yet. I got to put in a couple more parts, but you want something like this where you can wind it and it's secured in there. And so I need to print that and then wind the coil. Before we do that, so that's one of the next things to do. But before we do that, we want to put in the bearings and just see how this thing spins, just giving it a spin, and whether it will fit on the current kind of thing I have set up, or if I'm going to need to print more parts. I don't want to glue the things in, certainly not initially. So in the background you can hear the coil former printing, and now I've just kind of snugged in a bearing here and then a bearing down the bottom. I haven't glued them in yet because one of the things I realized is once they're glued in, you can try and punch it out, but if you have two of them in there, that's it. So you want to get right. But even because there's a lot of space between this one and this one, just kind of putting them in there, there's not a whole lot of this going on. In fact, there's not very much at all. Because some of that could be just that the PLA didn't print evenly. There's a bit. I'm going to need to print taller ones of these. Now, because we're going to be running on the outside now, and we don't need to fit a coil under there, I can drop this down about an inch and a half, but we're still going to need to go taller because eventually you're going to put on your timing wheel and space for pickup coils, and put another plate up there. So that'll be fun. But it spins, and now we got to see if it spins as a motor. It spins kind of nice. It actually has a bit of weight to it from those magnets, even without any additional mass. So one thing is, am I going to be able to get that off? That's really super glued in, but hopefully I'll be able to get that off without having to just rebuild this whole base. So nothing is anchored in. I'm just getting a little antsy as I'm waiting for the print. So, this is just really rough, but we can see that's how it's going to work. I want to try one thing real quick. So here we are at 2 volts. So our wire is going to be running this way. And so do I have the whole right angle thing right? So now do you believe? So this might work out all right. We know that's set up correct. And I'm looking forward to this now. All right. Well, the coil former just finished printing, but it's going to take me a while to wind that, and then I got to make sure that everything lines up the way it should, and kind of get the sensor snugged in and the other parts snugged in. So why don't we wrap this up for this video here, and in the next video we'll have a better iteration of it, and eventually I think we're going to go towards a pretty strange motor if that serpentine coil thing works. But I'm just like everyone else. Wake up in the morning and sit at the edge of the bed and put my pants on both legs at the same time, just like everyone. Occasionally I do, though, just to prove the point. Okay, so thanks for coming along, and keep smiling. Talk at you again later. Bye-bye.